If humans evolved from monkeys, why do monkeys and chimpanzees still exist? It is one of the most common questions people ask about evolution. The truth is, we didn't evolve from the monkeys you see at the zoo today. Evolution does not work like a straight ladder, with one species turning directly into another. Instead, think of it like a branching tree. Modern humans, chimpanzees, and gorillas sit at the tips of different branches. If you follow those branches backward, they meet at a single point, a shin ancestor that is no longer alive. This concept is an observable, measurable fact of nature. An estimated 97% of scientists agree that the evidence for it is irrefutable. Our modern understanding of this process started to take shape thanks to Charles Darwin. In 1859, he published On the Origin of Species, introducing the mechanics of natural selection to the public for the first time. To understand how we ended up looking the way we do today, we have to trace our specific branch backward through the timeline of history, all the way down to the 4-billion-year-old trunk of the Tree of Life. 4 billion years ago, Earth was entirely covered in water. In that ocean, free-floating organic molecules began grouping together to form RNA. Scientists call this microscopic assembly, LUCA, the first universal common ancestor. It wasn't even a full cell yet, operating in the gray area between living and non-living. Eventually, this evolved into a single-celled organism known as LUCA, the last universal common ancestor. Researchers have identified that LUCA contained around 355 specific genes. Those exact same genes are still present in every living creature on Earth today, including you. The engine driving these changes over billions of years is surprisingly simple. When organisms reproduce, they pass their genes to the next generation. But sometimes there are slight copying errors in that genetic code. These are called genetic mutations, and they create physical variations in the offspring. This is where natural selection takes over. People often hear the phrase survival of the fittest and assume it means the biggest or physically strongest. But biological fitness simply means fitting your local environment best. If a random mutation gives a creature traits that help it hide from predators or survive a freeze, it lives long enough to pass those specific traits to its children. The combination of these two mechanical forces, random genetic mutation and strict environmental selection, turned a single microscopic cell into the vast diversity of life we see today. Over millions of years, individual cells began grouping together because there is safety in numbers. By about 555 million years ago, this collaboration resulted in the first bilateral animals, creatures with a distinct left and right side. We know this because scientists have dated fossils of these tiny organisms found right here in the ancient rock beds of South Australia. As life expanded, some marine creatures were repeatedly stranded in shallow waters. Over time, physical adaptations like stronger fins allowed them to survive on the muddy shorelands. This migration from water to land proves that evolution has no linear goal. It moves in whatever direction the immediate environment demands. Sometimes the environment changes violently. When a massive asteroid wiped out the dinosaurs 65 million years ago, it left huge gaps in the global ecosystem. With the giant predators gone, smaller animals finally had the space and resources to thrive. Mammals boomed, aggressively branching into entirely new evolutionary paths. Depending on the continent, they adapted different ways to nurture their young, forming distinct groups of marsupials with pouches, placentals that develop in the womb, and rare egg layers like the platypus. Because this branching process is chaotic, it creates some incredibly unexpected family ties. For example, some land mammals eventually return to the sea to find food. That means the closest living relatives to modern whales and dolphins are actually hoofed mammals, like cows and buffaloes. Earth's greatest catastrophes cleared the board, providing the exact environmental pressures required for complex mammals, and eventually humans, to evolve and to inherit the planet. Beyond mutation and selection, there is another major force shaping life called genetic drift. This happens when a random, destructive event isolates a tiny portion of a population, permanently altering the genetic future of that species. We can see this clearly in the American bison. Humans hunted the vast bison population down to near extinction. Only a tiny fraction survived inside a protected national park. Because of this extreme population bottleneck, every single plains bison alive today descends from that isolated handful of survivors. This isolation effect applies to human evolution. Hundreds of years ago, a small group of immigrants settled in North America to form the Amish community. Because this group rarely married outsiders, their gene pool remained extremely closed off. Today, due to this founder effect, certain recessive genetic traits and rare conditions appear at disproportionately high rates within their population. Because we usually talk about fossils and ancient history, it is easy to assume evolution always takes millions of years to happen, but we have observed it in real time. The rapid mutation of the COVID-19 virus into entirely new variants like Delta and Omicron is a clear, undeniable demonstration of evolution happening right in front of us. When we look closely at how life changes, adapts, and survives, we see that the tree of life is still growing. From a microscopic virus to a bison to a human being, every living thing on Earth is deeply connected in one continuous biological community, where every organism has an adapted place.